Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to yet another edition of the Pure Digital Passion Podcast with me, Moses Kemibaro. Today, my guest is Ranaf Makhani from RIANA Group, a company that focuses on a various range of solutions in the security space and also in queue management. Ranaf and I were actually meant to have had this session probably 6 months ago, and I'm so delighted that we finally got to do it. He has an incredible story, how he started the business, how he all got into this area. But more importantly, they do have the Customer Experience Executives Forum happening in about 2 weeks' time, which I think is going to be part of our conversation today. But most importantly, we understand this world and space that is operating in and really how they're trying to reinvent customer experience in Kenya and across the East African region. Karibu sana, Ranaf.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you for having me. Better late than never.
Eventually,
We're here now.
And I'm grateful that we're finally doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Ranaf, you have a very interesting origin story. Yeah? I think it's very important to share to our audience the origins and the background that you have, where you're from. And maybe we can start there. Tell us about your history and your background.
Okay, so where do I begin from? So, Ranaf is a techpreneur, as I'd like to call myself, an avid cricket fan.
Oh, really?
And an aspiring paddle player. I'm not there yet, but
nice.
That's what I'm aspiring to be. I grew up in Arusha, Tanzania, a small little town, not too far from where we are. I did my schooling there as well. And growing up in a Gujarati Indian family, business is something that was discussed, be it school pickups or, dinner conversation. So business is something that I grew up with. I was very fascinated with, what my dad and brother did in terms of how they went about, carrying out their business, what are some of the challenges they faced, how they mitigated those, and yet, always had this forward vision about, how to take it to the next level. So business is something that grew on me, as I was growing up.
A family background.
Yes, there's always been a family background. I remember, my brother taking me for meetings when I was as little as 13, and I was like, do I really need to be there? And he said, you know what? These are the things that are going to help you in the future. So I grew up in a small town. In terms of my schooling, I was known to be this mischievous kid who was always, crazy about sports, never really considered, studying as it should have been. Yet managed to pass my exams. And, I was very happy with that. Sports has been an integral part of, my growing up.
Really nice.
And it's something that I enjoy. That's where I release my stress. And that's really who I am. In terms of my schooling, I then moved to the University of New South Wales in Sydney. That's where I did my undergrad, got a lot of exposure. But the idea was always come back home.
Was this in technology as well?
I did economics and marketing.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So you did that, and then I think you came back to Tanzania?
I moved to South Sudan. So you can imagine, from Sydney to Sudan. Yes. So my first work experience was in Juba, South Sudan.
Wow. What was that like?
Very, very interesting. Look, it was a new country. I mean, it still is the youngest country in the world, right?
Yeah.
So what drove me there were the opportunities, right? The country had just gotten independence. There was tons of opportunities, but there were challenges as well. I mean, we didn't have grid power. Forget about, anything else. There was no grid power at the time. I'm talking about 2012, 2013. But again, where there are challenges, there are opportunities as well. So I started my first stint by setting up an electronic funds transfer switch. So digital payments way back in 2012.
Was this your own business at the time?
Yes. So when we went there for the market research and the survey, somebody knew somebody and like, hey, do you guys want to come and explore? There's a lot of opportunities. One of the things that I was always fascinated about was technology, even as growing up, again, from all the siblings, I'm the youngest, yet I had the first mobile phone amongst all the siblings because, I was always tech savvy and like, hey, I want to do this. How does this work? Very progressive. And, thanks to my siblings for letting that happen. But we went there and I identified that, coming from Australia, the tap and go was just starting to take shape back in the day. And, I was like, forget tap and pay. I don't see no POS machines whatsoever. There were no ATMs as well, So there we were. I was this young guy, graduated from university. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we be the integrator? Because a lot of the regional banks and the banks from Kenya as well, they were reluctant because it didn't make economic sense for them to set up the infrastructure. So we said, why don't we be that player that, brings everybody together on the payment infrastructure? You all can share the POS machines and the ATMs. So that's really where my journey started.
So you acted as an intermediary business,
yes.
And this is MoneyLink. That was the name of the company.
That is MoneyLink, yes.
Does that continue to run till today?
It does, but we sold out
Okay.
back in 2016, and that's when I moved to Nairobi.
Okay.
Yes.
So it sounds to me like this was sort of your first sort of startup
Exactly.
foray business that you got off the ground.
That's
And that
right.
probably gave you the foundation to now get to RIANA Group.
100%.
So there are two things I want to know about RIANA Group, because I know you incorporated around 2014, but you really started kicking off around 2016, 2017.
Correct.
But what sparked that? Because I think the model and what you do is very unique.
Correct.
And I think people have no appreciation of the scale and the scope of what you're doing. But
Correct.
give us the origins around the idea,
Yeah.
and then how that then became an actual business.
Okay. So even when I was in Juba, a lot of the people that we dealt with were from Kenya. Be it in the banks, be it with the UN organizations, or even the supermarkets that were there. They were of Kenyan origin. And having grown up in Arusha, we always knew that, Kenya or Nairobi is this economic hub, which still is, up until now. So if we were to make it big and have a regional presence, Nairobi was going to be that place. Some of the ideas that we had back in the day were most suitable for Kenya because the infrastructure was there. Our population here is tech savvy compared to the other countries we have within East Africa. So Nairobi, in a way, was, a natural choice. And the whole idea was to be at the right place at the right time. That's why, the thought was there in 2014 that, this is going to be our next frontier. Come 2017, we were then prepared. We had the experience and we were like, now is the time. So what RIANA started off with was electronic security because there was a big gap in the market. Yes, you had a lot of people provide, off-the-shelf solutions, but when it came to projects and when it came to actually realizing what was required, we saw a gap, within the Kenyan market. We started off with that, two young guys, me and my brother, trying to, look for business, and they're like, so what experience do you have in security? And the answer is, sir, we have all these ideas. We can execute this. It will be done as per your requirements. So the whole idea and our pitch, even till today, we never give out, project details or quotes or commercials without knowing the full scope. So our forte is, what's your pain point? What is it that you're trying to achieve? We then design and curate a solution. And that's evident with the kind of clients we work with, be it in hospitality, be it in real estate, be it in education sector. We have a solution within our electronic security domain, within our customer experience domain as well. So what RIANA does is it provides curated and tailor-made solutions for all the offerings that we have. So that's really the essence. And we take a lot of pride in, providing that customer satisfaction. Yes, it's not about you want this and I'm going to give you that. No. Why is it that you need what you're asking for? Is there a better way? What is your end goal? That's where RIANA comes in. It's more of a personalized approach. Yes, we do have clients, but the number of clients we have are also very limited because we want to do justice to the clients that we onboard. We want to run the journey from them. And what's fascinating is the clients that we onboarded when we started are still our clients till today.
So you've actually got them till today.
We have them till today.
And I think there's something very profound you're saying that I think a lot of startup entrepreneurs in tech in Kenya, East Africa get wrong, because I've been involved for a long time in the ecosystem, as you know. And quite often it's a solution looking for a problem versus a problem that exists, and then the solution is mapped to that.
Correct.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you use a very consultative approach.
Absolutely.
Understand the issues and then build around that.
Absolutely. That is really the essence of what we do at RIANA. Irrespective of the solutions we have, what is your problem? How can we help you solve this? You may have an idea, but if we have better ideas, that's where our strength lies. There are instances where, people have decided to do without consultants because they believe and they trust that, having a consultant is a good thing. But if my partner understands my requirement, I may not necessarily need to have a consultant. So again, this has come through a lot of experience as well. We have gotten things wrong in the past as well. It's never been a straight curve.
So it's a learning experience.
But now where we are at, I think we are at a stage where we really do understand, the geography, the requirements of the market, and what is it that will work in Africa. See, something that works in Dubai or in the US may not necessarily work. How many people, have smartphone and have data bundles on it? You cannot rely just on your WhatsApp notifications because it will not work. You need to have a mixture of both. Is it a text message or is it WhatsApp? These are the, small details that we understand because we are based here. We live here. We know our environment. And that is what differentiates us, from the likes that, come in and say, hey, we've got all these things that are working in other parts of the world. Fantastic. They're working there. Are they suited for us here at this point in time? Yes, maybe 2 years down the line with 5G and the rates coming down,
Yeah.
everybody will have a smartphone. Everybody will be able to do that. Where we are at now, it needs to be a hybrid solution. Something that the companies that don't operate out of Kenya would not be able to understand.
Mm. And I think that market relevance of being Africa specific is
Yes.
critical.
We are very proud to be of Kenyan origin. Our solutions are designed and developed in Kenya for the continent.
Wow. Now, let's talk about early challenges, because I think one of the things I know as an entrepreneur, and I've been in a number of entrepreneurial businesses, is that when you're entering the space as a new brand or with a new proposition that is significantly different from what people consider to be okay, were there any challenges in breaking through in terms of possibly educating the market, in terms of getting people to understand the practicality? What are some of the early challenges that you might have faced in the process?
Oh, Moses, we've had a fair share of our challenges,
Yeah?
Look, right from where to set up our office in Nairobi, we didn't know that. We were very new to this place, to the point of, explaining a solution to customers. So I remember in our early days, when we approached hospitals for a queue management system, they're like, hey, but why do we need a queue management system? That stuff is for the banks. We don't need it here. Yet you have bigger and worse queues in hospitals. Remember, when you're at a hospital, you're not even at your 100%.
Are you kidding me?
The last thing you want is to know, hey, I came before him and I need to know. So, we had to start from that level and said, hey, look, you definitely have a requirement. Yes, your flows are much more complex than they are in a bank, because bank, it's a one-off transaction. You pick a ticket, you go ahead, you get served, and that's usually the end of the journey. Whereas in hospital, it's a whole different ball game, right? There are different stages of places where you need to go. We had to design and develop a solution for that. In fact, we were the first company to provide a working queue management solution to a hospital in the year 2017. So the challenge started right from educating the customer that, hey, you do have a need. And then there came the idea of, hey, this is not being budgeted for. How are you
Yeah.
going to provide this to me? But we were at the stage where, we needed some clients to prove our point. When you have a few players using the system, it makes the discussion a lot more easier. There was that. There was also the idea of, running a one-man army.
Yeah?
You are the CEO, you are the HR manager, you are the marketing personnel, and you got to wear multiple hats. And that's how you grow. Nothing comes easy. So we've lived through that whole journey of, doing everything on our own. It was me, Azim, my brother, and we had a few handful of, staff members that, were the core of when we started. To be honest, most of them are still there with us. So, again, what South Sudan taught me, was that nothing is impossible. Imagine if we were able to do all that we did there with all the challenges that that country had. Nothing is impossible. All you need is a strategy, and you need to have the right team members. If these two are aligned, yes, it will take time, but you will get there. So slowly and gradually, we had the issue of, hey, where else have you deployed this solution? Sir, it's not being done. Please have faith in me. We'll deliver. We've done proof of concepts for a year
With no
without
payment.
charging anything.
Wow.
Sir, just use our system. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, we'll pack up and go. No commercial strings attached. That's how it started. That's how we were actually able to prove. But we also needed to learn from these customers, right? You have a vision, you have designed a solution. But remember, this solution is not used by us, it's being used by our customers. We needed that soft landing for us to be able to understand the solution we have. How apt is it? What are some of the tweaks? So we ran through all of that, and today, touch wood, QSys is a brand that a lot of people recognize with, right? And that has come with all the years of dedication and the customer service in everything we did. Was it if it was in South Sudan or even if it was here, customer was at the center of everything we did. And even in our weekly huddles that we have, customer takes center stage. It's not what we want, it's what they want. And in giving them what they want, what is the best practice? It doesn't have to be what Ranaf feels is right, or Gentleman X feels is right. What does the customer want, and what is the best practice for us to be able to deliver that?
Correct. So I want to come back maybe to a little bit about actually what does RIANA Group do?
Right.
Because I know you're a group, you have several different
That's
businesses that are in there. Maybe you can take us through the unique sections or the unique aspects of these businesses, and then how you're kind of bridging them all to create a more holistic customer experience proposition.
Okay. So we have 3 subsidiaries in RIANA.
Yeah.
The first one being USS, which is Unified Secure Solutions. At USS, we provide end-to-end electronic security and safety solutions. So right from cameras to boom barriers to bollards to fire detection, fire suppression. That's the full spectrum of electronic security, right from design, installation to maintenance. So that's the first subsidiary. The second subsidiary we have is QSys.
Okay.
QSys is what provides a full suite of customer experience solution, right from booking an appointment to checking into your location using the kiosks and the queue management,
Okay.
to keeping you engaged while you are being served through our digital signage solutions. And at the end of the journey, we solicit feedback. So at QSys, our mantra is you manage, engage, and delight.
Okay.
That's what we do at QSys. And the last subsidiary we have is Secuvis, which is our visitors management system.
Okay.
We've all been to places where we're tasked to, write our details, in a book and pen. Again, it's a formality that we're doing. There is no authenticity of what you're doing.
Data privacy.
Data privacy. I mean, there's a whole lot. But
Yeah.
hey, look, when we were designing Secuvis, we were very cognizant of the fact that who is going to use this system? It's the guards that are going to use the system. So the system needs to be such that, it's easy to use and yet it's quick, right? Because the last thing you want is spend 10 minutes, just getting yourself registered and you're running late for a meeting.
Yeah.
So Secuvis is our visitors management system, and that takes care of entire journey, right? From the time somebody comes in to knowing where this visitor is, what time did they come in, and we have an appointments module. Again, the idea of booking and appointments, I believe, is going to, skyrocket in Kenya over the next few years, if not few months, because time is of the essence. Today, we all value our time. How easy or convenient would it be for you to book an appointment, let's say to go and see a specialist doctor? You don't have to call them. You don't have to write them an email. You just go and choose the slot that you want. And by the time you come in, you have already been processed. Everybody knows that, yes, you're here for a certain thing. So that autonomy is something that we foresee is going to become the new norm within Kenya and East Africa in general. So to sum up, we have 3 verticals, each of which, caters to a different segment. But the idea, again, is to provide customized solutions in everything that we do.
So let me ask you another question. I know that maybe we didn't agree to discuss this earlier, but did you notice any distinctive market uptake as a result of the pandemic? Did these solutions that you have become pivotal for some of your clients, given that it provides automation, probably insight for the different touch points, which again, in a situation where we had, social distancing and all that, did you notice maybe uptake and also maybe people signing up because of that?
Absolutely. So, we did have a massive uptake, especially for the visitors management system, because you did not want to have any contact. Now, with the solution that we provide, as a guard, you're on the other side of the table, you're just asking me for your details. And that also brought about innovation. Before COVID, our solution required, you to scan a physical ID on a flatbed scanner.
Oh.
We had to change that and then, use a handheld device through OCR and just take a snapshot. With the snapshot, I'm not touching your ID. We're not, coming in close proximity either. So yes, visitor management was indeed a big boom for us during the pandemic, because Kenya was fortunate. We did not really have strict lockdowns. What we had was curfew. So the business had to go on as usual. But hey, you can't be sharing the pen with 50 other people that have come to this place. So in as much as we had a solution, we had to innovate and say, okay, physical contact is not allowed. What do? We said, okay, you know what? Let's go the tablet way. In this case, you only need to take an image. Through OCR, your details are all captured well within the system, and you move on with it. So yes, Secuvis was a blessing. Even on the access control side of things, a lot of people were used to either the proximity card or the biometric fingerprint. But now that was not allowed. So we brought in, face recognition. And the face was able to authenticate the same way as, your biometrics would. But again, if it was not for COVID, we would have not gone into those territories. A lot of our clients replaced their terminals because we didn't have clarity as to how long the pandemic was going to last. People sussed out and then they realized this is the new normal. We still need to, capture the attendance of the members that are coming in. We still need to regulate access to some of the sensitive areas. Biometric is not an option. Card is a proxy. Moses can give me his card. What's the other option that I have? Well, your face. So a lot of people then adopted the face ID solutions to, run about their access control. So yes, there has been a lot of uptake. And generally speaking, the technology adoption within Kenya or, in Africa as well has really gone up because of COVID. My parents, I don't think they would have used Zoom had it not been for COVID.
Yeah, many people.
Many people, so there's always a silver lining in, some of the challenges that you face.
Yeah, indeed. I think when we talk about the pandemic, we talk about digital acceleration. The idea that, things that were considered to be high tech or, a little bit
Yes,
too far ahead suddenly had to be the way you did things. And even
absolutely.
till today, you find that many organizations, like in my company, we're still working remotely.
There you are.
We find that we do most of our things virtually. And I think it's just freed up a lot of time and activities for people. Now, Ranaf, I want to go back to something, and I think this is important because I think it was last year or the year before I came to your office and you showed me some simulations of how your security works. And I think one of the coolest things I remember is the idea that once the system has mapped you as, let's say, Moses, and I roll up into a building, and the way you can zone out what I can access, what I can't access, how
Yes.
somebody can move in a building. I just thought that was incredible. But maybe you can just describe how that works, because
Yeah.
it was very cool in the sense that if the system knows that Moses' role should not allow them to be in a certain area, their guests, how does that actually work?
Okay.
Yeah.
So electronic security has, progressed quite significantly over the last few years.
Yeah.
What's happened now is that you have your conventional systems, your normal cameras, your access control, but there is an intelligence component that is built on top of that.
Yeah.
What the AI or the artificial intelligence does is it makes the system to be much more reactive and progressive. The example that you gave. So, with Moses coming in, we're able to map, or if Moses is an employee, we know that, okay, this is Moses. He works on the 5th floor. He should have access to any of the floors that he needs to be. Now, the camera is the one that is providing access. So you no longer need to, have a conventional biometric or a card reader. You go in front of the door. This is your normal CCTV camera. It recognizes this is Moses. It opens the door for you because it understands who you are because you are an employee. If Moses goes to a non-restricted floor, again, he will not have access, but the fact that you attempted to go there and the camera saw you, it will automatically provide a pop-up to the teams that are doing the surveillance that, hey, there is an event here. Moses, by default, does not have access to this place, but there was an attempt that was made. Conventionally, what would happen is your operators in the control room would see 50, 60 odd cameras. They would not be able to pick you up to say that, hey, why did Moses go to the 7th floor? This is the intelligence that comes in, wherein the systems are able to know who is supposed to do what and where. And we're also reducing the amount of hardware. Remember, your access control is now your CCTV camera. So in terms of adopting the technology, it also makes it commercially viable for customers. And the best part is the solution we have works on any of the hardware. So we are not hardware specific either. As long as you have an IP system, our solution can sit on top of that and provide you all the intelligence and the analytics. I'm sure you've noticed this trend where, in the past, we used to have a lot of guards at the entrances writing number plates. You would not see them now as often. Why? Because the cameras are automatically able to capture the number plates of the incoming and the outgoing vehicles. This is where technology is able to make a difference. Imagine if you were to search a car, that, hey, this is a suspected car. We want to know how many times it came. Good luck finding that on that book that the Ascari was writing on. Whereas with the system, all you need to do is put in the plate number. It will pull up all the logs to say, hey, this is the time that this car came in, these many times, and it makes the job a lot more easier. So there is monitoring, surveillance, but there is also analytics that is running on top of what we are doing.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yes, in terms of our market approach, even in manufacturing, when you have crowd being built up in factory floors, that's not a healthy sign to have. Now, do you need to have somebody going around and doing that, or do you rely on a camera that automatically detects and says, hey, there's a crowd being built up here, something's going on? You may want to check. Now, remember, all of this is happening automatically. The system is providing triggers to the monitoring teams for them to know that there is an event that requires their attention. So the use cases for AI within any workspace are infinite. So we are able to, again, curate packages and design solutions. What somebody would require in a hotel would be very different from what somebody would require in a manufacturing facility.
Of course.
And this is where the AI and the customization, when they come in together, magic happens.
So are you saying that you guys are already using AI in a very big way across your propositions?
Yes.
And this is across all sorts of different use cases that you might encounter.
Yes.
What sort of industries do you see or sectors that are primarily adopting your technologies and solutions? Where do you see the biggest uptake? And, again, within the region, within Kenya, what are you seeing?
So the hospitality sector is something that is warming up really quite well
Okay.
to the adoption of AI, both within the security front and also on the customer experience front, which I'm sure we will be talking about. The other sector that's taking up is banking. Within banking as well, they want to use the data for them to be able to curate better solutions for their customers.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of one of the financial institutions that we're working with, and how they're using data and business intelligence tools. This customer of ours said, our teams or our branches, whenever we reach out to them, they say they're always very busy.
Yeah.
Be it the loan officer or be it the customer experience, but we don't have means to know what is it that they are busy with. So we took this as a pilot case and we said, okay, we're now going to track every loan application that comes your way, because by the time you enter the bank, you have to pick a ticket. And that kind of tells us. Even within that, we went to the granular level. Yes, you're here for a loan. Are you here for a home loan? Are you here for a car loan?
To that level of detail.
To that level of detail. And who served you? So if Moses served 15 people today for a car loan, what is the journey looking like at the end of the month? What is the conversion that is coming in? Now, remember, through business intelligence tool, there is no human individual who is cracking these numbers. You plug this into the BI and it will give you the data. It will give you the stats. What's the conversion? For every 100 tickets that are picked up on your loan or your car loan, how many are you actually converting? Now, this is vital information for businesses to know, okay, here's where the gap is at. Here's what we need to do. The same thing happens on the employees as well. It's one thing for you to sit on your desk and assume that you're working. It's another for how much time are you spending with the customer. We are able to provide those stats, something that has been very instrumental within the healthcare sector. In healthcare, the turnaround times are the most important matrix that they look for. We have had instances where we've brought down the turnaround times of hospitals from 118 minutes to about 70 minutes. And this has all been through the use of data and through analytics, where it clearly tells you, the bottleneck is, at a certain department from this time to this time. You don't need to add somebody there on full time. We provide those stats. We provide those insights. Yes, it's one thing for you to know that, you're a busy setup, but what's causing these delays? What's causing most of the time in the entire journey of the customer? That's where we come in. And again, through the use of technology, through the use of business intelligence tools and AI, a lot becomes now a lot more, the whole picture becomes a lot more clearer.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about maybe the customer experience journey that RIANA is on. How do you see it as sort of being the primary agenda, and then how that connects to the different business areas that you're involved in right now?
So, Moses, let's be honest, gone are the days where anybody had monopoly in anything that they did. Today, it's no longer the price of the product. It's about the experience that you provide. And, there are stats that show that, if you have one bad experience, you're going to tell 3 other people, and it works vice versa.
And social media becomes 3,000.
Let's talk about social media. Why do we have a lot of people venting and ranting on social media? Because businesses have not provided them with a tool to air their concerns, right? You have the feedback box. When was the last time you filled in a feedback using a book and pen? Can't remember, right?
Yeah.
Why don't businesses provide means to their customers to say, hey, let us know how your experience was? So what we are trying to do is we're trying to bring about this idea of customer experience taking center stage in anything that organizations or businesses do. Be it the waiting time. Look, queues are inevitable at some of the places. You go to a hospital, for example.
You're
going to wait. How can we make that waiting time to be much more engaging? That's where we come in. So we understand the entire journey that a customer goes through and then derive or curate products around that. So again, to add more onto this, customer experience has to take center stage because you no longer have a monopoly. There's very little that differentiates you from your competitor.
Yeah.
So it's about you understanding what your customers are saying. What is it that they're liking? What is it that they're not liking? And then go back and provide a product or a service that is best suited for your customers. At RIANA and at QSys, we want to be that partner that helps you understand what is the sentiment of your customers. What is it that they're saying is working? What is it that needs improvement? we provide those stats. We provide those analytics through multiple touch points. It doesn't just have to be feedback. I mean, imagine if we were able to advertise, Pampers or a diaper brand
Yes.
outside of a pediatric ward. I mean, it's as
It's contextually
targeted.
relevant.
Yeah, it's as relevant and as targeted as it gets. These are the insights that we are able to provide once we know what the customers are looking at. So again, even from a booking perspective, which we feel is going to, really take on within Kenya and, in the East Africa market as well, how nice would it be for Moses to book an appointment, arrive at the appointment a few minutes prior, a few minutes
Mhm.
late, automatically get queued based on your appointment time. While you're waiting, we have content that is keeping you engaged. And at the end of the journey, we're asking you for your feedback. So, really, Moses is this one customer who knows, hey, these guys have really taken care of me. Minimal touch points, everything taken care of, and it works as clockwise.
And I think this is really where the world is going, right? Because when everything gets so commoditized
Correct.
and your competitors are providing exactly the same thing, essentially, then the experience becomes everything.
Yes.
And I think what you just told me, by the way, which is kind of mind blowing for me, is that I think I walked in this conversation thinking more around the security side,
right,
and access control and reception systems, and
right,
queue control. And what I'm hearing now is that basically these are all essentially pieces
correct,
of a bigger puzzle that is
yes,
customer experience.
yes,
And you're able to bring them together in a
correct,
logical way,
correct,
but more importantly, around the customer need and possibly their customers' need.
correct.
Yeah. So that's really what you're offering.
That's really what we're offering. We're here to provide solutions to businesses so that they can better engage and better manage their customers. That's where we are at.
What do you think are the reasons why people choose you? Because honestly, like when I came to your office, again, whether it was last year or the year before, I can't even remember, but I looked at this stuff and I was like, this is rocket science. This is amazing. And I wonder, whether in relation to the competition, you're much further ahead. I mean, how when they choose you, what do you sort of hear and see as the reasons why they choose you?
There are multiple reasons, if I'm being absolutely honest. One is our approach. We really try to understand what the customers want and our hyper personalization when it comes to our solutions, right? There are no two solutions which are the same, So we really get to the bottom of what is it that our customers want, provide a solution that is best suited, for them, and then assure them of the after sales. And what has happened with over time is you will find RIANA in multiple places. And when you see RIANA's solutions and they are working, that instills a lot of confidence. Oh, yes, I saw you. Oh, you are the guys that did this there. Oh, I've actually used your system, so I know. That is what is, providing
So
us.
actually word of mouth by experience. Almost.
Word of mouth by experience. 80% of our business comes through word of mouth. And it's a proposition that we're very happy to have. We have very few individuals within our sales teams. A lot of it is inbound.
Oh,
so
really?
It's through word of mouth and through experience. If somebody's used the experience, a solution and they know it's working, we have a lot of solutions in our part of the world which are there, but they're not necessarily working. So we were very clear from the word go and say, whatever it is that we do, we will take our time, but we'll make sure that they run. And most of these solutions run without any of our team members actually being there. You will not find a RIANA employee at most of the clients.
Manning it or something. Yeah,
no, it's not required. And technology, that is what technology brings to you, right? If you get it right, it's going to work. And that's been our focus.
That's what I keep telling people nowadays, especially in the AI era that we're in. I keep saying, don't make a human do a robot's job.
Correct.
If the robot can do it better, give it to the robot.
Give it to the robot. Absolutely.
And I also tell people, like this famous thing that's now going around when it comes to AI, we say that AI is not going to replace you. It's going to empower somebody who's going to replace you. So the person who knows how to use AI is the one who is going to be successful versus the one who doesn't. And I'm almost suspecting that in many instances, you're probably winning and keeping accounts just by the mere fact that this automation is actually a cost reduction measure. Because if I need 5 humans instead of 10 to run the system, then I'll go with a provider who gives me that.
Absolutely. And we have had instances where we've proven a logical return on investment on our systems to our clients. And we've said that if you go with this solution, here's the saving that you're going to do on a monthly basis. Here's what you're going to save on a yearly basis. And most of the times, the system pays back for itself within a span of 2 years. Yes, these are pure business cases where within 2 years to 30 months, so 24 to 30 months, the system actually pays off itself. So I mean, it's a no-brainer then that, okay, if I can afford to have the solution now, why not?
So what is the coverage? I know you're obviously very big in Kenya. It looks like you've covered a lot of markets.
Yes.
In fact, there's usually a place I go to where whenever I use the parking, I think I send you a picture
Yes.
that I was in a
Yes.
place with your system.
Yes.
So it seems that you've done quite well in Nairobi, at least in Kenya. So where are you currently sort of in geography as a business?
So we took a strategic call at the end of last year. Our financial year ends in June, and we decided that the QSys brand that we have created over the years is something that needs to be taken out to other countries as well. So as we speak now, we are present in 7 African countries with our QSys brand. And Moses, we all count our lucky stars. These are not clients that we have gone to. They have come to us.
Okay.
So that also, you would have one-off inquiry and said, hey, I saw your system, I'm from here. We would like to use it. So last year we took this call and we said, look, if we're getting a lot of these inbound inquiries, what if we made a conscious effort to, be out there in these markets? So as we speak now, we have our teams in Uganda. We have our team in Zimbabwe. We have our team in Tanzania and in DRC Congo as well. So the idea is to take this system of ours, QSys in particular, to the entire continent of Africa. Our vision is to be present in at least 25 countries by the year 2027.
What?
Yes.
And as you're going into these markets, is it government? Is it private sector? Is it NGOs?
So we do get a soft landing with the clients, the regional clients. So some of the clients that we work with in Kenya are also present in these other countries. So because we've done a good job with them over here, the referral makes it much more easier to have or to tap into some of the clients. And once you onboard a couple of clients, our focus is always on the healthcare sector because we feel we have a very strong hold on the healthcare and the financial sector. So we're not so big on the government side yet, although we are now engaging with a lot of parastatals within Kenya, who you will now see using our systems.
Offices and it's always a nightmare.
Yes. So wait it out. You will see a change. Look, this government is very proactive when it comes to adoption of technology and making life easier for the citizens and, acquiring some of the services which should not really be a pain,
Yeah.
So we will see QSys and a lot more of these places as well. But as far as our regional expansion, right now, the focus is East and Central Africa. We'll see how that goes. But the vision is very clear. We want to, be recognized as a Pan-African brand that is providing solutions to real world problems that we have in Africa, which are unique to us. So the solutions also need to be unique to the problems that we have.
Okay. I want us to talk about your upcoming event. I think on the 2nd of October, you have this Customer Experience Executives Forum.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, what it's about, why it's important, and also how maybe some of our audience can possibly attend or engage in that particular event?
So the customer experience solutions that we provide, we feel, requires a lot more attention in the sense that it is something that everybody wants to do, but they don't know where to start from. That is where we said, why don't we have this forum where anybody that is interested in knowing more about customer experience can come and actually experience our solutions. So it's not just, a few people who are going to be talking. Yes, we do have panel discussions where we're going to talk about matters CX and how they can be an integral part and what is it there for the businesses to adopt CX solutions. The second part is we actually want the customers or people that are interested to work with the solution. So we are going to have live demos, live setup of our solution so that people can actually interact and know how these solutions actually work in real life scenario. So as you mentioned, the event is happening on the 2nd of October. We are going to be discussing everything CX, what it is, what are the benefits, how can it be implemented, and what does a solution look like for your business. So you will be able to experience the solutions that we have at the forum.
When you think about who should attend this event, which industries or which roles do you think would be ideal to attend the event?
That's a good question, Moses. Look, CX is something that I believe every business should adopt. But where we see key attention is C-suite personnel that really want to take their service delivery to the next level and how they can achieve that. So those are the people that would really benefit from this. And also we do have businesses that have a customer experience manager or somebody looking after the customer experience. These are the people who would really, really benefit by actually knowing what are all the different options that you have as CX solutions and how they can be incorporated in their businesses.
And I imagine that when you're looking at these use cases and what we'll see at the event, you're probably looking at it from an omni-channel perspective,
That's
right?
right.
So how does this connect to my
CRM,
CRM,
correct.
marketing automation, and all these
Absolutely.
things, right? So it's all about that 360.
That 360. So the solution that we've adopted is an open source solution.
Uh-huh.
So it can easily plug into, be it your hospital management system, be it your CRM management, or any other software that you are using which is client facing. It could be your normal POS billing system. I mean, if you're a hotel or a restaurant, and if you've paid via M-Pesa, what stops you from asking feedback on the same number that you've paid using that? So we do have an omni-channel approach, and our solution, because of its open protocols, is able to seamlessly integrate with the solutions that are already there. So we're not asking you to buy something else because you need to use our solution. We will come and plug in to what you have.
Oh,
that's where the real game changer is.
so you have the APIs and the integrations.
That is right. Yes. We have, in fact, done integrations with multiple partners already who have different solutions, and our solution, fits into that quite easily.
I'm going to ask you a question because this is something that really frustrates me, and I think it's in banking.
Yeah.
Why is it feels to me that a bank will go and do marketing? A bank will interact with you when there's a problem. I'm having an experience right now.
Yeah.
They have a ticketing system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on social media making noise about their problems.
Yeah.
What is the problem there? Why are these things not? I mean, how people like you addressing that? Because it's actually frustrating. Or you go into a hospital, as you pointed out, and you're sick.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there for 4 hours.
Correct.
Before you get an actual treatment.
Right.
Going through triage.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things I'm sure you're seeing, but how do we
Absolutely.
solve this?
First thing is give a lending ear to your customers. Okay. Let's talk about how many of these businesses solicit feedback on a regular basis or at the time of service delivery. There are two case scenarios here, right? Moses, he's frustrated. He went to the bank. His issues were not resolved. Have we provided, or has the bank provided, a means for Moses to actually channel this to the relevant people? If not, Moses has no option but to go on social media. This is where our CX solution comes into the picture. For every engagement that you have with our system, and when I say our system, we're representing a client over here, at the end of the journey or while you are waiting, you will have an option to share your experience. This experience, depending on what you rate, our system is able to analyze. Is this a positive response? Is this a neutral response? The sentiment. If it is negative, it automatically gets assigned to the people that are responsible for it, and their turnaround time now starts ticking. So, for example, Moses comes into the bank, is not happy with the experience he had, and let's say he gave a negative feedback. This feedback will land on, let's say, John's desk, who is responsible for handling the complaints, and his time now starts ticking. Let's say he's got 48 hours or 24 hours to resolve this problem or to respond to the customer. If he does not do that, it moves a level up. They have their turnaround time. It moves to the third level where it's now mission critical, where somebody complained 3 days ago, we've not resolved this, we've not interacted with it, what's happening? See, it's one thing to give feedback. It's another for the teams to actually take it seriously and then, resolve or respond to the customer. So we provide the entire journey from soliciting feedback to categorizing them, whether they are positive, negative, and then, channeling them to the relevant people. And at the end of the journey, I could claim that I have resolved Moses' problem. Does Moses know of this? When I resolve this, Moses will also get a notification to say that, hey, you reached out for A, B, C, D, E. That's been taken care of. We hope you have been satisfied with the response or with the resolution that has been provided. So it's not just about getting feedback. There's a lot more that happens. The CX world is a lot more deeper than most people actually think it is. That's the narrative we want to change. Today, NPS, Net Promoter Score, is a globally recognized benchmark. How do most businesses, capture the NPS? They will do a random survey once in 6 months or once in a year. Why? Because it's an audit item that needs to be ticked. That narrative has to change. NPS and your customer satisfaction scores is something that you should be tracking on daily basis. It's not a by the way thing. This is where we want to be the partner for customers or for businesses that are interested in knowing the real pulse of what their business is doing or what their business is offering and how it is being accepted. You could be offering a fantastic product, Moses, but that's according to you. I, as the user, I don't think this is, a fantastic product. And how do you provide that landing gear? That's where we come in with a host of our CX solutions. Again, feedback is just but one of those solutions. Even engaging a customer while you're waiting, that plays a role. Your perceived wait time seems a lot more less when you are engaged. And I always say it's very difficult to entertain somebody, but you can try and keep them engaged. These are the small bits that make the overall experience of the customer to choose your business over somebody else who's not thought about these things.
It sounds to me, based on what we just discussed here, that customer experience is more than the technology. I think there's a huge cultural factor, wouldn't you say?
100%. It's something that needs to take center stage in any business. Today, if you're not talking or not thinking about CX, you're already far behind because your competitors are thinking of it already. It has to be an integral part of everything we do. And it's happening in other parts of the world. It really is happening. I mean, there was a day just last week when I was away and I booked a train ticket. The rail company asked for a feedback that you traveled with us from here to here. Let us know how your experience was. So really, it's not just forget the service industry, which thrives on customer experience. Even the biggest players within the market. I mean, I'm sure there's not too many rail operators, that you would have in one particular country. Even they are asking for feedback because they want to improve on their service delivery. So it's, yes, you're very right. It's much more than, just having technology. It's about making it a centerpiece of everything that businesses do. Because at the end of the day, if the customer is happy, they're going to bring 3 more people. And that's a no-brainer.
That's true. They recommend, they refer.
Correct.
Do you have any tangible case studies or customer stories where you've done a deployment and there was maybe over time, maybe instantly, a very substantial impact, maybe on the top line or the bottom line? Do you have any instances or anecdotes that you're comfortable sharing?
There are plenty. And again, because we've been strong on the healthcare, there's a particular client of ours. They have hospital and they have satellite clinics across Kenya as well. One of the things that they used to see is it's taking a lot of time, your service is not good, but they were not able to pinpoint where the actual problem was.
Okay.
After adopting our solution, we were able to bring around their turnaround time. And we were also able to provide that it's not so much on the staff that is a problem. It is actually the location that is a problem. Because of the location, people were frustrated that why do I have to come all the way here for this service? Whereas, you have other services which are being offered in a much more convenient locations. So in terms of the top line, bottom line, we don't have those figures, but there was a big turnaround in terms of the customer sentiment because they realized that the service that they were offering in location A was not best suited for it to be offered in location A. This service ought to have been offered in another location. So we were actually able to, pinpoint that out because it was not 1 or 2 people that were complaining of the same thing. There were multiple people who were pointing towards that. Also, when it came to the turnaround time, the simple logic was you needed more people from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. because that's where the biggest footfall was. You were creating a bottleneck because you only had one desk for insurance. 80% of your patients that came in were insurance patients. You had 2 people in cash, 1 in insurance. Change that thing around. Have 2 people for insurance and 1 for cash because most of the people that are coming are your insurance patients. With simple things like this, they were able to, bring down their turnaround time or the TAT by quite a large margin.
And that's beautiful because this is customer-driven insight. This is the people who you're serving telling you, boss, you need to fix this.
Correct.
This is how I'll be happy.
This is how I'll be
It's not ambiguous anymore.
No. You have stats. You have data to prove a point. Yes.
I wish more people could hear this story, just the idea that you don't have to imagine things. Just ask your customer.
Just ask your customer. Simple as that. And don't do it periodically. Make it a part of your daily operations.
Yeah, it's fully embedded.
It's not a by the way thing where, your audit or your compliance requires you to report your...
No. We won an award.
Yeah, we won an award. No, make it... And it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
It's that cultural shift, which we hope over the next few months or a few years, a lot of the businesses will now start, soliciting feedback and then, having the entire matrix behind it. Like I said, it's one thing for you to solicit feedback. What you do after is equally more important, if not more important.
To actually close that loop.
to
Yeah,
close that door.
wow.
Walk the full journey.
Wow. There are a couple of more questions I want to ask you before we bring our conversation to a close. Number one, you're an entrepreneur with incredible experience. You've done stuff tech first. We know Kenya is the Silicon Savannah. We know that this region serves as an epicenter for the continent. What advice would you give others who might want to pursue a similar path to you in technology as an entrepreneur, as a business, especially the young in the market? And then the second thing I'd like to ask you is, where do you see RIANA going in the next 2 to 5 years?
So I'll start. I don't think I'm qualified enough to give advice, but I'll share
I
what
think you
has
can.
worked.
I think you can, yes.
Look, it all starts with, what is the problem that you're solving, and let money not be a factor for you to start something. Because if money is your motivation, it's very easy for you to get demotivated in the early days. It's not going to be easy. If you are passionate and if you are driven and you are there to solve problems, focus on that. The money will come. As long as you provide the solution, or as long as you provide the right solution, money will come. Be patient. It doesn't happen in a blink of an eye. It takes time, but be persistent and let your passion drive what you are doing as opposed to money. With a lot of startups that you see, it's all about getting somewhere, moving the hat from here to there, and then wanting
raising
out.
around.
This is a personal opinion. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
If you want to start something, have a strong footing, have a strong foundation, let your passion drive. And you know what? If you are doing something which you're also passionate about, Monday doesn't feel like Monday, because this is something that you like doing it.
Exactly.
Right? And the moment you are in that space, you will be self-motivating yourself and the teams as well.
Awesome.
So to anybody out there who wants to start, go out there. There are plenty of opportunities. Let money not be a factor when you are starting. Money will come. As long as you are there solving a problem and doing it the right way, the money will come.
Awesome. And the way forward for the business?
Like I said, as far as RIANA is concerned, we really want to, prepare QSys for being a Pan-African brand that is going to solve real life problems and, be there for matters customer experience. Our plan is to have presence in 25 countries, as I mentioned, by the year 2027. And this is thanks to the Stanford Seed program that we did last year.
Okay.
They really brought about, they made us believe in ourselves almost, all over again, that here you are solving problems. Why are you in this small puddle? There's a whole world out there that is there. And I don't know whether it's God's grace or, it was written. Ever since we finished that, the number of inbound inquiries that we've had, from outside has just been amazing. So where QSys is going to be, we want to position ourselves as these market leaders within the East African and Central African space for matters customer experience. And then sky is the limit. We are passionate. We are driven. We believe we have the product that can have a real impact in the businesses that adopt our solution, and we really want to be at the forefront of anything and everything to do with customer experience in our region.
Okay, great. And maybe how can people find you online, possibly also for the forum?
Yes, so we do have a registration link, which is widely shared on our social media and on our company website as well. Anybody that's listening, please feel free to sign up. It's going to be an exciting morning. Come on, let's be honest. You're networking, you're talking CX, and all of that at a brand new hotel that's just opened up.
Which
within
hotel
the city.
is this going to be again?
This is at Gem Suits along Limuru Road.
The new one, huh?
The new one, yes.
And what is the website address for RIANA?
It's www.riana.co.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you that we finally did this a year and a half later, I think.
Better late than never, Moses. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was going to be this easy.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like sitting in a restaurant having a coffee.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Moses.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure.
We want to wish you all the best with your event and also the plans that you have going forward the next few years.
Yes.
And we're hoping to see you in all those 25 markets across Africa.
Thank you very much. Yeah? Thank you once again, Moses.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So you've heard it right there from Ranaf Makhani of RIANA Group. He's told us so many things. I went to this conversation thinking it was about security systems and access control and queue systems. But of course, I think the bigger picture here is that RIANA Group is actually providing a holistic range of customer experience solutions to the market in Kenya and across Africa. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Pure Digital Passion with me, Moses Kemibaro. We'll catch you in the next one.